Hello, fellow board gamers. My name is Marcel. You know me as your Lord of the Board Games. And today I have a very special guest again, whom I really like because we met a lot of times and every single conversation we have is a pleasure to me. Hello, my friend. Hello, Jason.
Hello, Marcel. How are you doing? Hello, everybody at Herr der Spiele.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. How is the weather in Belgium? Is it getting better?
It's getting better. The snow is gone.
Yeah.
So last week it was white. Now it's all wet again.
Yeah, it's the same situation here. The children are kind of sad that the snow is gone. For me personally, I'm happy that it's gone because it's much more easier to go to work.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of snow?
Yeah, a lot of snow. We did not experience that the upcoming the last years. It's really it was a lot of snow.
All right.
But every time we meet, we kind of talk about ideas, and there are all so many nice ideas. Of course, about your recent project, 1793 Patriots and Traitors. We had a talk a few weeks ago, and probably we have a kind of surprise now for you, viewers. I think you, Jason, came up with the ideas to talk about the, let's call it, unique selling point of the project, which is, of course, the law cards. And what's special about the law cards, Jason? What do they do? How do they influence the game?
Well, 1793 Patriots and Traitors is actually designed in 3 different layers. So the first layer is we have the board and the different areas on them, which give you certain benefits as a player. That's the first one. The second layer is or are the revolutionary leaders, which also give certain benefits. And then the last layer are the law cards, which change the game rules and also even the board. And what's special about that is we have 21 laws. But the players can choose them because it's revolution. So people can start building up the society.
And what's really interesting is that you sent me the law cards. So I think I'm one of the first customers that had the opportunity to read them. And I'm really interested about the background of the cards. Of course, I heard a lot of them. I had that in history, and I'm really interested in it. And I like to talk a bit with you about the background, but I have an idea.
Yeah.
Do you really think that if I give you a little quote from the cards, from first card, second card, third card, and so on, I will not tell you which card, that you can guess or kind of, how do you say, you just have, yeah?
Yeah. Guess is good.
Yeah, guess the title of the card. Can you do that?
Well, let's try it.
Yeah. So do we want to bet about that?
A bet?
Yeah. I don't
Sure.
know. I don't know. Probably let's see if you can guess all of the 8 cards I did prepare for you, and if you get them right, what do I have to do? Sing the Marseillaise in the next video? I don't know if that's offensive.
You can do that.
Oh,
And otherwise, I'll do it.
huh?
Otherwise, I'll do it. If I lose, I'll do it.
Otherwise, you will do it because I'm pretty sure that we will meet again. But this is not offensive. I don't think so, is it?
What? No, I don't think so either. Why
Okay.
would it be offensive?
Okay.
No.
So what I will do now is I will show the card in the screen, but I will not share my screen with you so that
Okay.
the audience sees everything and can follow what I'm reading.
Yes.
And you have to guess the card right. And after you guessed it, we will talk about the background of the card.
Okay, sounds like an idea.
Okay, then let me start. The
Right.
designer himself has to guess which card it is. I give you a quote.
Yes.
If the king is executed and the für victory condition becomes obsolete,
Yeah.
it is replaced by the objective save the dauphin.
Yeah.
Which card is it?
So that's going to be the trial of Louis Capet,
Oh,
also formerly known as Louis XVI.
too easy, too easy. Louis the 16th, yeah? So,
Yeah.
so tell us a bit more about that trial, please.
It was actually the trial of Louis XVI that started in November 1792, because in August, the king had been toppled from the throne already after the attack on the Tuileries on August the 9th, 1792. And the king and the queen and the son, the Dauphin, who would be later on Louis XVII, and Madame, the sister of the older sister, they were in the Temple prison. And the trial took place from November through January, from November 1792 to January 1793. And what is very weird is why the revolutionaries took time in that moment, in those 3 months, to busy themselves with the execution of the trial of the king. Because at that moment they pushed away the Austrians out of so Dumouriez was in Belgium at that moment, so there was no danger from the other countries, from Austria or Prussia. But what I always found very weird is, why are they keeping themselves busy with the trial of Louis XVI? And that's what brings us to the game. Is you'll see that there were some that were against the execution of the king, and there were some that were for the execution of the king. And I think it was just also a little bit of a political game also, to the Girondins against the Jacobins.
Wow.
And so that's what you'll see in the game, is also because some people will want, the Jacobins will want Louis XVI to be executed, and the Girondins will not.
Oh my God, this is so many information. Oh, great, awesome. No, it's awesome, but it tells me that I will not quote the execution of Marie Antoinette, because otherwise I would have to read out the head of Marie Antoinette is worth 2 feuillants.
Yeah.
So that would be too easy for you.
So
Okay.
in any case, if they succeed in executing the king, then the yellow player, who is supposed to save the king also as an objective, so the feuillant, if the king is executed, there's still Louis XVII that can be rescued. So it's actually, there's also a second objective.
Okay. So now I have a quote for you, for my famous card.
Yeah.
Because this is a card I'm personally really interested. So listen closely, please.
Yeah.
The royalist leader Prince de Conté and his army of Emigrés is activated in Mainz, Mayence.
Yeah.
Which card is it?
So that's going to be the confiscation of the property of the Emigrés.
Okay. Okay, now you need to tell me more about it, because you need to know that I lived in Mainz for years and I studied there. So this is kind of my hometown.
Okay.
And I did not know about this confiscation property. So tell me about it.
So the problem with France at that moment during the French Revolution, and that's why the revolution started, was there was no more money in the treasury. Mm-hmm. So it was completely broke, France. So what's one way to get money, of course, is to, for instance, the church had 50% of the land in France. So why not make the church take all the land of the church, and all the people from the church, they would become, how should I say, the work, they should work for the government, actually, for the nation. And so when that wasn't enough, they also, of course, there's a whole bunch of Emigrés, a whole bunch of aristocrats that escaped France. So one way to get money is also to steal their property.
Yeah.
So, and what happens just with the card, when this law passes, then you'll be getting money into the treasury of the National Convention. but also the Prince de Condé, which was one of the Emigrés, the leaders of the Emigré army. So all the aristocrats, they were rattling their swords and they wanted to attack France. So when that law passes, they will also start invading France. So you won't only have the Austrians, you won't only have the Prussians, you won't only have Sardinia Piedmontese, but now you'll also have the army of the Emigrés who will start entering France.
Wow.
So that's the story behind that card. But of course, it gives you money, and with that money, if, for instance, the mob rises to threaten the government, you can say, well, here's money, and then that card is deleted or neutralized.
And this army started in Mayence.
It was in Mainz, there was an army, all in the Rhineland, there were a whole bunch of aristocrats that fled there, and Mainz was one of them. One of the cities where all the Emigrés were and all the people that were not happy with what was happening in France. And what is very funny is all those rich people went there, all those aristocrats, and they want to start an army. But the problem was everybody wanted to be the leader, of course. Nobody wanted to be a soldier. So they had problems recruiting soldiers because everybody wanted to be the general, everybody wanted to be the colonel and everything like that. So they were fighting internally.
Wow.
Which is pretty funny.
Wow, that's so interesting because now you think in terms like Germans and French people, but in that time, 200 years ago, more than 200 years ago, I think you could not think in these dimensions, that were little kingdoms and little landlords and so on, and there were not these two nations. So so it was more than possible to flee to Mainz, to these now Germans.
Koblenz, Mainz. What else did you have? Yeah.
Worms probably.
Worms also, yeah. There were Turin. There were some that went to Turin also. Some went to London. Some went to Switzerland. Madame de Stael went to Switzerland, for instance.
Did they cross the river to Frankfurt, Wiesbaden, and so on, or just until the Rhine?
I think they only went just on the Rhine, I think. But there's some also that went to Russia in the end also. When the Revolutionary Army started going more outwards towards in Germany, they all started going towards Russia and to all different places. So
nice background to my favorite card so far.
Why is it your favorite card? Why is it your favorite card? Because Mainz is your...
because I am interested about the background of the card. I definitely need to see how it works. Of course, gaining gold coins is always very, very nice, mechanically wise, but I'm always interested in the background, the historical background, and living there for years is a thing. And I don't know if you have ever been there. Mainz is an awesome city. It's really, the heart of the city is really... it's ancient, and you can walk there in the narrow streets and so on and feel the flavor of the dome. The Mainzer Dome is a huge church there. It's very nice.
Are there any remnants that you saw or something like that? Speaking of that history of the Emigrés there or something like that, or?
This is totally new for me. I did not know about this story of the city. But I was reading a lot and living there, and I did some tours there, but nobody told me about this epoch of Mainz.
Okay.
Very interesting. So, but I need to be a bit more difficult for you, I think.
Oh my God.
So my next quote is the following. Angry mob cards that have been drawn are immediately reshuffled into the draw pile once their effects have been paid.
That's gonna be the printing of the Assignats.
Ah, you're right. Oh, and I hoped it was a hard one for you. So
I had to think about it a little bit. Yeah, which one of the three? So I know it had to do something with the people.
Yeah. So what is the Assignat?
Oh, so the Assignats were actually the paper money actually from those days.
Mm-hmm.
so when they took the land from the rich and when they took the land from the church,
Yeah.
the original idea was, if you buy that land, you'll get money for it in return, or you'll get those assignats return, and with that you can buy the land. So it was actually how should I say? Remember what you'll probably notice when after the First World War, in Germany there were banknotes, and there were like 100,000 marks. And
Worth nothing.
If you had to buy a bread, it was like a big pile like this. Well,
Yeah.
that was the same with the assignat. It was actually paper money,
Ah.
which you could if you sold the land or if you got the land, you could pay it with other stuff.
Okay.
And the problem is in the game, if you pass that law, then normally only the royalists and the feuillants can use that currency to protect themselves. So it's actually to buy, to prevent bad cards to be played upon you. But when you pass this law, then everybody can play with the assignat.
Okay.
But the problem is, the more money, of course, that's economics, the more money that you print, the worse your economy will be.
Of course, definitely.
So that's why usually when you draw a angry mob card, it goes on the discard pile. But when this law passes, everybody can use those assignats, but all the angry mob cards will return into the pile. So that will give more misery in the end, because those angry mob cards will all come to the bottom. So you'll get more misery. So it's good, but it's also bad because you're fooling around with the economy.
Yeah, and there will be a time where you will have to cut, where you have to stop printing money.
Yeah.
And then everybody will lose a lot of money, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what is also funny is that when the war with England started printing those assignats, and they started to deliver it into France.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
So in order to destroy the economy. So what happened, it was just a whole bunch of assignats being poured into France, and the economy just went.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of money warfare then. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a card which I am really interested to. So let me see. I will quote here. At the start of a round, without voting, the players present in the Les Comités area decide which law card comes into effect.
So that's my favorite, of course, and that's the extension of the authority of the committees.
I was pretty sure that you liked that card.
Yeah,
So
because it's a special card. It's my favorite because it will allow you, instead of all the voting, it will allow the players in the Les Comités, in a new area that is put on the board, it will let them decide which laws will pass and which laws will be deactivated.
Wow, that's so strong, the effect, so strong.
Yeah. Because then there's no voting anymore. So at that moment, it's actually you're a little bit of a dictator at that moment.
And the card comes into play just here you wrote the Les Comités area is just revealed on the Paris board.
Yeah. So it's a separate tile. So it's not there on the beginning. So once the law passes, that tile will be placed on the card, and then you have a new area, but it only has two. It only has two spaces, so it can be used by only one person or only maximum two people. So two factions. So that's why it will give power to those two people that are there, or that one faction that is there. And
so I ask myself, how can this law pass? Because just two people will profit from it.
Well, you need to be in the National Convention in order to sit there.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, say you and I, we have a majority in the convention, and we decide, well, let us decide which laws we want to choose which ones we want to pass,
Yeah.
then what we're going to do is, of course, we're going to want that law to pass, and then we get to choose which laws will pass and which ones not. But it can also be very helpful because instead of voting, if you want, for instance, money in the government, what are you going to do at that moment? You're going to say, we're going to let the confiscation of the properties of the rich people. We're just going to let that pass and we'll have money right away. So it's also very useful, that law.
Even yet, everybody has to realize that all these laws are completely different. No law is like the others. We talked about 4 laws up to now, and you can't compare one card to another. That's really great from my perspective.
Yeah, and that's why every game is going to be different also. Just because you have those 3 layers plus all and those laws with it, so every game is going to be so much different. I've played, I've been doing a tour now lately to all the gaming clubs and everything like that, and every game was different.
Yeah.
So, and that's the way it was intended to be.
So let me select a 5th card. The French revolutionary armies are growing. The Champ de Mars area is revealed on the Paris board.
That's the Levée en Masse law.
Correct.
A very
Again.
interesting law.
Yeah.
Because here we're talking about another tile that is placed on the France board, and that's the Champ de Mars.
Yeah.
So what that will do is you already have the caserne, the caserne, the barracks actually.
Yeah.
And that's 5 spaces which you can fill, which will make your army stronger. But if you do La Levée en Masse, there's a double one coming onto the board, which now you'll have 10 spaces to fill for your armies. So your armies will get very, very strong. The bad thing about it is, the drawback is that in certain places in the provinces, they will revolt.
Yeah.
Because the people, historically, the people were they were drafted into the army, but not everybody was, how should I say, happy with what was going on in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
They were thinking, okay, so they killed our king, they took away our priests, and now they also want us to fight for them?
Yeah.
I don't think so. So they went into, they rebelled. So, but it's, of course, if you're being attacked by Austria and Prussia and Britain and the Dutch Republic, that will make you very strong, of course.
So people need to think about what is more important to them. Yeah. Protect France from the foreign invasions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or stand up against the parties that subdue them.
Yeah. So the question is, of course, the stronger your armies get, the more victories you will gain, your generals, but the more fame and glory they will get also. And they will get too powerful. And, you know, once people begin to smell power.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think we realize that in the reality here too. Yeah. We don't need to think about Star Wars or something like that. Okay. So if people get too powerful, probably this is a law which could be interesting for these persons. But I will try to give you a harder task and give you this quote here. Printing press cards are discarded from the game. Printing press cards are discarded from the game.
Then we have the law of censorship.
Ah, again, you're right. Yeah. Censorship. This is a very important theme for me because it's a completely no-go, of course. What about this card here in this time of the French Revolution, censorship?
Well, what happened during the French Revolution is one of the things that they wanted was everybody free speech.
Yeah.
Go ahead, a little bit like the social media nowadays. Everybody can say whatever they want. It used to be restricted, but now it was free speech. Everybody could say whatever they want. But what happens with the law of censorship? You're censoring again. So not everybody is allowed to say whatever they want, because that will ignite rebellion and people would be against the government and everything like that. So the law of censorship will make sure that you lose influence. So it won't be easy to get influence anymore.
Yeah.
Because we all start with 13 influence cubes, which we can put on the boards. But if you do law of censorship, it won't be easy to get those little influence cubes anymore. So, but on the other side, what it will do is it will stop people from rising in revolt. So it will stop those angry mob cards. So they will not rebel that quickly anymore. So you won't lose any influence in the government. So it's a good way to keep your power in the government.
Okay. So I have a problem with the pronunciation here, but I want to talk about the fluff text, which I really appreciate, because the text is really explaining the title of the card. So let me try this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just like dealing out punishment, clemency itself is also a revolutionary measure, the most efficient of all when it is wisely dealt out.
Yeah. So that's going to be a very odd card, and that's open to prisons.
Yeah.
That's the objective of certainly of the red, of the ultra radical red Cordelier, will be to send as many people to the guillotine or into the prison. Now, if you have, say for instance, if you have 10 influence in the prisons, if you pass this card, then all the influence cubes will be freed again. So they go back to their owners. There's no drawback to it, but the drawback is, of course, that everybody will get stronger again. So all the time you try to get to break the power of the other factions, now they will be freed again.
Mm-hmm.
So
kind of a reset then, yeah?
It's going to be a reset, and certainly the red will not be, the ultra radical red will not be happy about that. Mm-hmm. So, and this is a quote from during the terror. So in middle 1793 till the fall of Robespierre, where the prisons were like very full. There were like 7,500 people stuck in prison in Paris, and Danton and Camille Desmoulins want to free all those people. They said it was enough terror, it's enough of this, let's just free them all. And that's where the card came from. Open up the prisons.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I just zoomed a bit into the cards so that people can read about it. That's okay for you, of course?
They just have to keep in mind that it's just still a work in progress. So it's not the complete cards.
Yeah. But it's okay if I show the information from the PDF.
Sure, no problem. Yeah. So, I have no secrets.
Yeah. So at all who listen now, this is work in progress. So this is the last card, and I hope that you will miss this one, but I'm pretty sure you will not.
You want me to?
No, definitely not. No, definitely not. But of course, I have to finish with this card. Everybody would be sad if I wouldn't. Players with activated generals can move them one province in their turn.
That's going to be La Marseillaise.
Which I will have to sing now, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Tell us about the backstory of the Marseillaise.
So I needed a card. You can't just leave your general standing. I want to give the game a military feel also, because the French Revolution is also very military. It had to do about wars, battles, and everything like that. And they should also have the opportunity to move their generals around the board so that they could stop the Austrians and Prussians when they're coming in. And also, if there's rebellions, then the generals should also be able to move all the way to the south, to the Vendée and everything like that. Mm-hmm. What I used for that was the card La Marseillaise. So now the generals can move every turn. They just don't stay in their one province. Now they can move everywhere they want. So they can also go out of France. They can invade Brussels, they can invade Amsterdam, they can invade Mainz, Koblenz, Torino, Girona in Spain. So they can conquer all these places. And for every place that they conquer, they will get a gold coin, or at least the government will get a gold coin. And that's also to show that the way that the revolutionaries managed to get a little bit of order into their economy was to conquer.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like also in the Roman times, war pays off. And that's something that the revolutionaries in 1793 and 1794 started noticing. Hey, we're sending all the hungry soldiers out so they can go into Brussels and into Mainz to get food there. We'll be exporting the revolution, the ideas of liberty, equality, fraternity, and we can also get money from there. So that was, but the problem was, of course, that the generals, they started, if they were not happy, they became too, how should I say, they became too thirsty for power, and they became dangerous also.
Yeah. So, this was the last card, and you guessed them all right. I shouldn't have to bet with you, but of course I will pay my debt. The next video I will start with that. But I said a few minutes ago that I like the way the game always plays different, and this was of course a design purpose you had in mind. Yeah.
Yes.
And there are two more things I really like when I'm reading all this card. The first is I'm a sucker for history, and the whole time you are telling stories about the cards, and I think the game is a game where we can learn something about the history, about the French Revolution, which is one of the most important times in Europe's history. And this is really nice, and I think people will enjoy that. I am sure my colleagues, my groups will definitely have an awesome table talk, because you can't just sit at the table, play a card, and say, "Oh, that's the Marseillaise. Let's see if we want that." But people will step into history while playing it, and I think this went really well.
That's the way it's supposed to go. It's my idea in creating a game is I like to have stories afterwards.
Yeah.
I like, say if we play it, that we still talk, we drink a beer together and we talk about it for another half an hour or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So, you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have passed that law, and that's what makes gaming, I find, a very memorable experience. And that's what I like to do with my games, tell stories.
Yeah, definitely. I think that every single game here in 1793 will tell a different story.
Yes, it will. And if that succeeds, then I'm happy.
And here there are all these different cards that come into play. And I remember from the Game Found campaign that in the very beginning, you did not plan that many cards, did you?
The prototype was with 14 cards.
14, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think before the campaign, it was 19, I think, and there's a few that came through that came extra, yeah.
And now it's 21 in the end.
Now it's 21, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, for some people it will be a lot. I don't expect people when they play it the first time to know all the laws, of course. But I also rewrote into the game rules. If you want, you can just start with 10.
Yeah, and probably there will be some gaming groups that will start with no law in the first two rounds, probably, and they will just try to learn the core mechanics. But I think in the end, this is what makes it special, and I will have most fun with the cards which bring certain areas into play, like where you can be the dictator and so on. And of course, I will want to try the one versus many mode at once, because I always like to be the one there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll play the royalist then. Well, you can also play the ultra radical red because they're also. It's usually both opposites. They have it difficult. So people are afraid of the ultra radical red.
Yeah.
They want to send us. They want the extreme laws, and you have the royalists. They don't like either.
Yeah.
So
I will definitely try out each faction. Yeah, we'll definitely try out that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jason, for this insight in the game. I think is an insight you never show up to now.
this is the first time I could talk a little bit about why I created those cards and what's the story behind it, and which is very, how should I say, it's nice to be able to do that. Then
Yeah.
it shows also that those cards are not just they just came out of my.
Yeah.
There's a historical background to them
Yeah.
all. So
Yeah, this is the most important thing to me. It's not just event cards. It's cards which I repeat myself, they tell us about history, and history evolves in that game. So yeah, thank you for your time, Jason.
I thank you, Marcel, for your interest,
Yeah.
for your enthusiasm.
Yeah. Yeah. You can be sure will I will need more enthusiasm the next time when I have to sit here singing the Marseillaise, of course. I will have to practice myself because me speaking French, this is definitely 20 years past. Yeah.
You learned French already? You studied it?
No, I didn't study at school for approximately 3 years. You cannot say I studied it. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I wanted. Yeah, but we had to decide if we want Latin or French. And from my perspective today, I did the mistake to choose Latin, which I do not need at all. I should
Okay.
have picked French.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is definitely the more important language, as you can speak it, and you cannot speak Latin in any country of the world.
No, but you can read old buildings.
Yeah,
And write.
that's definitely an important thing for me. Standing in Rome and reading the Forum Romanum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason, it was a pleasure to meet you again, and I think we will meet soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a
And
nice
thank you for your
evening.
time. You take care. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye bye.